Welcome to an English language class with Madam Gan. Today, the topic is on SPM Writing Guide, and this is for Form 4 and Form 5. Let's start by looking at the format for the SPM writing paper. The code is 1119-2. Here we have the components. This is a writing paper. Okay, then the timing is 1 hour and 30 minutes, mark 60. Number of parts, there are 3 test parts, and there are a lot of different way of writing the answers. So the first one, it is short communicative message. So you have to write about 80 words, and part 2 is called guided writing, 125 to 150 words, and part 3 is extended writing task. There are 3 options, so you have to choose one. Number of words 200 to 250. So the weighting is, or the weightage is 25% of overall candidate grade. Let's look at the summary of your writing paper. So part 1 is short communicative message, where you have to write an email or a letter which is informal. And part 2, it is guided writing. You have to write an essay. Normally you have to give opinion. And part 3, extended writing tasks, where there are you have to learn 4 types of writing, which are article, review, report, and story. But in the exam, there are only 3 choices, so you have to choose one of them. Let's look at part 1. So part 1, normally they will give you in the rubrics, there are instructions and also an email given, for example here. So you have to answer the tasks or the questions asked in the instructions or rubrics. Remember to answer what or where or who or when or how or why. And then try to provide reasons. Try to give at least 2 reasons. And then remember you have to write in about 80 words. Do remember to use linkers and also connectors. Now let's look at part 2. Part 2, you have to answer the questions in the rubric or instructions. So there are questions like what, where, who, when, how, or others like provide reasons. So write in about 125 to 150 words. And then remember, do use the linkers and the connectors. Next, we have part 3. Part 3, choose one questions to answer. So there are 3 options. Question 3, question 4, and also question 5. So remember to write on one of the questions. Answer the questions asked, which are in the instructions, like what, where, who, when, how, why, and others. Write in about 200 to 250 words, and always remember you have to use the linkers and the connectors. Dear students, for this video, we are concentrating on the units in the workbook. So this is the download workbook. We are focusing on the writing parts. So there are 12 units. So let's look at the first unit. The writing type is email. Second unit or unit 2 is story. Unit 3 essay. Unit 4 article. Unit 5 essay. Unit 6 again essay. Unit 7 report. Unit 8 letter. Unit 9 review. Unit 10 essay. Unit 11 article. And Unit 12 letter. Dear students, there are various types of stories. So it can be a story about a person, place, or event. So for person, it can be a person you admire, a person you dislike, or an interesting person. And for place, it can be the best place, or an important place for you, a memorable or interesting place. It can also be a holiday destination. And next we have event. For event, there are 2 types. So you have sad event and also happy event. So for happy, maybe a birthday celebration or other celebrations and also festival. Can even be a wedding. And then for sad event, you have flood, fire, uh, robbery, accident, or other tragedies. Maybe like a kidnapping and also a scary or ghost story. Let's look at the question. This is from Unit 2 of your download workbook. And Unit 2, the question is on story. So story is in the part 3 of your SPM writing paper. So read this writing task and then use the plan on page 27 of your student's book to help you write your story. When you have finished your story, check your work carefully. So let's look at the questions. We are looking for stories for our magazine. Your story must begin with the sentence, when Amy opened the door of the haunted house, she was astonished by what she saw. Your story must include a ghost and also a mystery. So here, you must begin with this sentence. And then remember the character is Amy, and then use past tense. For example, past simple or perfect tense. Past perfect tense. Here you have, because you have words like opened, Amy opened, okay, and was astonished, and also she saw. Second, you have to describe what, which is a ghost, and also what, which is a mystery. So remember here to include all the points in the task. So there are 3 points here. You must use the given sentence, and you must write about the ghost and also a mystery. Use some of the 5 senses in your description. Include how your character feel. Include what they say or think. Use a variety of adjectives, adverbs, and also verbs. Now let's look at some of the contents that you can write. So here for the ghost, you can describe, and also you can describe the mystery, something mysterious about the house. And events, maybe you heard voices from upstairs, you entered a room, furniture moved, bedsheet flew, then you ran out. So this is some of the mystery. And then you have your feelings. Maybe you feel scared, terrified, shocked. You can use the phrase hair stood on end. Let's look at some of your 5 senses for this story. So your senses are, you can see, you can hear, you can smell, you can taste, and you can touch. So here maybe see, you can write a pale figure. So you saw a pale figure or a ghastly apparition. And then you heard loud laughter or piercing screams. You smell, okay, maybe you can say that you smell foul smell of decaying animals or stench of rotting corpse. Taste, normally you don't write here. And then touch, you can write dusty furniture or wet floor. Here we have some adjectives to describe ghosts. You can say ancestral ghost, angry ghost, damned, dim, evil, friendly, gentle, grey, horrid, hungry, white. We have eerie, ghastly, scary, shadowy, spectral, supernatural, apparitional, cadaverous, corpse-like, death-like, vengeful, ghost-like, haunting, pale, phantasmal, phantom, spiritual, uncanny, unearthly, weird, and pallid. Let's look at some expressions about fear. You can write these sentences. A terrifying ordeal. It is a very frightening experience. It was such a terrifying ordeal. I'm glad that it's over. Send shivers down my spine. When something sends shivers your spine, it means that it terrifies you. I watched a horror movie yesterday. Some of the scenes and the sound effects were so frightening that they sent shivers down my spine. It gave me goosebumps. So goosebumps are the little things that your skin gets when you are frightened or when you feel cold. I can't watch horror films. They give me goosebumps. Here we have more expressions about fear. make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. If something makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, they scare you. Next, the apparition make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Scare the hell out of me. If something scares the hell out of you, they frighten you. I don't like to watch horror films because they scare the hell out of me. The ghost appeared and my stomach tightened up in knots. I could feel my face break out in a sweat and my heart trying to leap out from my chest. So you can also write this. More expressions about fear. Suddenly I heard the squeaky opening of a front door. I was startled by the eerie sound. I felt something was wrong and decided to see what it was all about. She walked down the stairs. Even her very own footsteps on the creaky stairs scared her. She heard the soft sound of footsteps in the kitchen, and she stopped to listen. The darkness sent shivers down his spine, but he wanted to find out what was making the strange noise. She suddenly turned around. To my horror, I saw that she had no eyes, no nose, and no mouth on her face. For a while, I stood frozen. Then I turned and ran away as fast as I could. Dear students, here are more sentences or expressions about fear. Johnny was staring fixedly at the window. There outside the window stood the ghost. Its eyes glowed as it watched us. As I fought off the desire to faint, I saw Johnny moving towards the window. All of a sudden, he heard a noise behind him. He stopped, turned around, and saw something white and ghostly rushing towards him. Doubt gasped and started to run. But as he ran, he heard pounding footsteps behind him. He ran on and on with the footsteps following behind him. A chill ran down my spine as I looked at the ghastly figure. It had a pair of deep, sunken eyes. His rows of sharp teeth looked especially menacing. Dear students, now let's look at the model answers. This is the first model answer, so it is about 294 words. Remember, you're supposed to write about 250 words. Amy opened the door of the haunted house. She was astonished by what she saw. Ismail, her friend, had told her about a haunted house at the outskirts of the village. He said that the house was very old and was in a badly ruined condition, but none of the villagers would go near it. His grandfather assured them that indeed there was. He also advised them to stay away from the haunted house. Amy became curious about the mystery related to the house. So you can say that you have written about the mystery. That night, Amy suggested that they go to the haunted house and solve the mystery once and for all. They would prove to the rest of the superstitious villagers that there was no such things as ghosts. Amy waited until Ismail was beside her before she entered the house. There were still bits and pieces of old furniture strewn all over the floor, and there were cobwebs hanging on the walls and ceilings. Insects and birds had built their nests inside the house. Just then, they heard a terrifying scream. They had goosebumps and felt their hair standing on ends. Both of them looked at one another in fright. Then a light formed in the middle of the room and a ghostly apparition appeared right before their eyes. The face was that of the ugliest woman they had ever seen. Her face had long lines of open scars, and they could see maggots and worms oozing out from the open scabs. She was floating in the air and her feet were not visible. For a few seconds they were dumbstruck, and then, in unison, they fled from the house as fast as their legs could carry. They ran all the way to Amy's house and stopped to catch their breath. So this is the model answer. Dear students, now let's look at the second model answer. Remember that you have to use the given sentence. Amy opened the door of the haunted house. She was astonished by what she saw. So remember to write this sentence. To her horror, a few skeletons lay there chained on the wall. Amy and her friends Ahmad and Kim were playing around an old abandoned mansion. They were told by their parents that no one was allowed to enter. However, curiosity overcame them and Ahmad picked the lock. granting them entrance into the sacred lair of the unknown. So this is the mystery. At the sight of the skeletons, the three of them were completely stunned. Amy, sixth sense, told her that something was about to go wrong, so she urged the other two to back out of the mansion. Don't be such a chicken, said Ahmad with a shaky voice. Aren't you scared too? Kim challenged him. Yes, but we might never get the chance to explore here again if we leave now. All right, but we leave as soon as the first sign of danger shows. They ventured deeper into the mansion. Throughout the lair, they did not lose sight of skeletons or spider webs. These were at every corner, at every turn. At the long hallway, they saw strange writings on the wall. Ahmad began reading them when suddenly the portion of the wall flipped open. At that very moment, a cold chill went down Amy's spine. So this is a feeling of being scared or frightened. A ghastly figure of a man appeared and drifted towards them. He had a pair of deep sunken eyes. His rows of sharp teeth looked especially menacing. The sudden eerie screams from a distance made the hair on their back stand up straight. So you can write this out essay, and then it doesn't mean that you have to have an ending where you need to run out of the house or the mansion. So the words 264 words. Dear students, that's the end of our lesson for today. Just now you learned how to write a story. Remember, when you write a story, you have to think of your 5 senses. Do subscribe to my channel. It is called Educator OmniTube. I am Madam Gan. Signing off and see you again in another lesson. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.